we got to talk about these Detroit Red Wings and our Detroit sports all kind of percolating at the same time. That, too, is a blessing. And you know what? We got some puck knowers. I know Flannel Sam, I know Spinny. That dude, Justin, is awesome to have you here to talk Red Wings with us as well.
Hey, absolutely. And I have a question. I know that it's just game 1 of 82, but what are you looking to see from this Red Wings team as they're taking their home ice for their season opener tonight against Pittsburgh?
Well, I'm looking for some defensive improvement. I think that this team has to be better in that regard. The addition of Cam Talbot, Edmondson taking a step into the top 4D should be another thing that helps in the addition of Gustafsson. I really would like to see the defense improve. The offense should have no trouble scoring tonight. The Pens just let up 6 goals to the Rangers last night. Their defense looked awful. There should be no issue offensively for the Red Wings tonight. I think just seeing the defense improve, if the defense is slightly improved, we're a playoff team this year. And I think that that's what I'm ultimately looking for tonight.
Hey, and you know what? There's a lot of people out there who are just now tapping back in to Red Wings hockey as they're, they got so close to a playoff berth last year. But what kept them just shy of that, Dylan Larkin went down. And obviously the captain is going to mean a lot to this team. But to those who, you know what, they're just tapping back in. And when they did, they saw Dylan Larkin went away and everything fell apart. What have the Red Wings done this year, or what are you counting on that's going to insulate them from those types of things happening this season?
I'd say just the star power, where I feel like adding Tarasenko, people disregard how solid he is defensively if they think that it's some huge drop-off from Perron. I'd expect us to be a little bit more deeper offensively, and especially with some of the prospects en route to coming up. You can never say with injuries, but with Larkin, we need him in the lineup. We were 4-10 when he was out of the lineup. Lucas Raymond went through 2 5-game point droughts when he went out of the lineup. You can't have that in a season. If he would have stayed healthy for a full season, they would have had 100 points and would have been a clear in to the playoffs. They would have been the 7th seed, actually, not even the 8th seed. So the X factor of this team is Dylan Larkin's health, and you just hope that we're able to bring and have the infrastructure to be able to keep him healthy for a full season, because he is truly critical to this team's success.
And I kind of want to add to what Justin's saying. No doubt is Dylan Larkin's health going to be very important to this team, but I don't think his absence for that 2 weeks was the only reason we saw a little bit of that schneid that we went on. We played from basically February on last season with only one goalie. Alex Lyon took the brunt of the workload. When Husso went down, the team had no confidence whatsoever in James Reimer when he was in net. They thought they had to go out there and at least put up 5 goals because he was going to let in 3 or 4. So he's just too old. He was just past his prime, couldn't do it. Having not only Husso, who looks a lot healthier this year, he's starting tonight. We have Alex Lyon, who performed very well down the stretch. And then a little bit more assurance, we have Cam Talbot, who has proven to be earlier in his career, he's 37, I think now, but he's proven to get teams into the playoffs. I think we should be expecting at least a wild card berth this year.
That's what I was going to say. So, as well, Justin, that's what Chase feels. I'm going to just ask you as well. Do you believe they've bolstered enough, man, to not just kind of sneak in, but be a problematic playoff team this season?
I do believe that they're going to be able to put up a fight if they get into the playoffs. I think that they have done something similar to what you see in the Tigers pitching staff with this goalie trio. This goalie trio can be effective in 3 different ways with 3 different guys in 3 different situations, and I think it plays to the flexibility of the Tigers pitching staff. And I really, really like that situation that we're in, where I don't feel like we're overmatched no matter who's playing, where all of them are good options and all of them should be able to get you in the playoff. So combined together, they make a very, very formidable goaltending room.
Justin, my dog, I got to ask you about Lucas Raymond. This is somebody that they signed in the offseason, 8 years, $64 million, and also somebody that we expect to take that next step up. I know we talked about Dylan Larkin, but you're also looking to Lucas Raymond to be one of your main goal scorers. What do you expect to see from Lucas Raymond this year?
I expect a huge year out of Lucas Raymond. I've talked about it with Chase. I expect 85-plus points for Raymond. I expect him to pop off. I genuinely believe he is the next young star in the NHL. Everyone talks about Wyatt Johnston on the Stars because he had this amazing postseason, but Wyatt Johnston didn't do it for an entire regular season as well. Lucas Raymond has. Lucas Raymond, if Larkin didn't go out, I believe he would have had 80 points last year. And so I think 85 is no stretch. I believe he could even get into the 90s with a great season. He's worth every penny, and I think that you're only going to see that contract become more of a value as we move towards the end of it, as the cap continues to go up, and it just becomes more and more of a value deal for the Red Wings.
Man, you know, I'm looking at this offense. I'm putting the pieces together, and I see Lucas Raymond. Some are calling for 40 goals. Some are calling for 90 points. I see Dylan Larkin, who you can almost pencil in for a point a game. I'm seeing Patrick Kane, who had a renaissance. I'm seeing Alex DeBrincat, who I expect to have a little bit better of a year this year. He's a guy who scored 40 goals before. I'm seeing the addition of Tarasenko. Like, all of that combined, is this...
You sound happy, Flan.
I am. It's just a lot of pieces, but together, does this, at the very least, is this a Stanley Cup level offense the Red Wings have?
Ooh. I would say, if not, yes, pretty damn close. I think that we're just right there.
That gets me
I think
fired up!
Like, I don't want to be a slappy, but... Like, I expect Tarasenko to have more points than he had than last year. He's playing more of a prominent role, and he also played really very well in the playoffs. I think Kane's going to have more points, full off season to rehab, and another year in this system. I think he's going to look even better than he did last year. I have faith in this offense. It's more of, is this defense good enough? Is this goaltending room good enough? And I believe it all is for us to make some noise in the playoffs and at least definitely get there.
Hey, and you know what? My son, shout out Kid Kool-Aid, his favorite hockey player is Mo Seider. And I know we expect great things all the time, but just talk about, the man with the mitts, bro, Mo Seider.
Mo Seider is truly an artist when it comes to playing defense. And it's very underappreciated in the hockey community, the way that he takes his angles and takes guys out of the play. And he's a physical specimen, and he bullies guys. He loves the body. I mean, this is a guy who, in the next couple of years, I expect for him to be in the Norris voting and be competing for one of the best defensemen in the league. I mean, that's his trajectory. It has to be. For where this team wants to be in the next couple of years, you need that lockdown defenseman, that defenseman that you can stick on your blue line. You know he's going to be back there. You know he's going to make every single play that he needs to make for you. And that's what Mo Seider will be for this team. He will be an anchor. And that's where I'm just so excited to see where these steps are going to be for him and for Raymond as they continue to get better. And then the additions of around them, you know, the Johanssons, the Edmondsons, the Caspers, like watching the rest of the young talent come around, the young talent that's already starting to prosper in the NHL. It's a great time to be a Red Wings fan, that's for sure.
I mean, I think, so just trying to add to what Justin's saying, I think we're going to see a big improvement from Mo Seider, not just from the additions on the roster, but if you take a look at who's no longer on this team playing on the blue line. Shane Gostisbehere, I know a lot of people liked him. He just sat at the blue line and just tried to clap it all game. He had one of the worst plus minuses on the team. He was not very effective.
Thank you, Chase.
I would hear this network dog Jeff Petrie and dog Oli Mata and just try to suck off Shane Gostisbehere. And if you look at the stats, like it's no reason. Like you're just dogging him because of the names. You do not like those guys. They used to play on the Penguins. I get it. I didn't like them back in 08, 09 when they beat us, but like they weren't as bad as people were making them out to be. And then also Jake Wallman, he had more.
About to lose it.
Jesus Christ.
Jake Wallman had more goals than assists for a defenseman. That is not something that should be acceptable, especially for someone who's like with Steve Eisman running the ship. No way in hell he's like trying to build a team with that identity. So I think just losing those two guys alone is going to drastically improve the defense for this Red Wings team. Sam, go ahead, try to fire off. Come on.
We've got ourselves a Jeff Petrie slobber in the
Right.
house.
I'm not saying
Chase, brother.
I'm saying he's better. He was better last year than Shane Gostisbehere.
The power play, brother. The power play. That was big, though, man. You got to admit, Shane Gostisbehere in the power play.
That's great. I think we have Simon Evanson to replace him on the power play, and I think Simon Evanson's going to be way better on the defensive end.
Oh, no question.
So,
no
question. Seider's been taking reps as the first
question.
VP as well.
I'm simply just talking about the subtractions of those guys. Look at the additions we brought in. We're so much better defensively now. with Edvinson. Like
Edvinson
If
for
this-
sure.
yeah.
Edvinson for sure.
If this roster is 24th defensively like it was last year, I would be utterly shocked. It's for real. Like, you are talking about Wellman and Gostisbehere, two guys who are negative defenders to the core. To the core. I can't. It is hard to watch those guys even play defense. They're Swiss cheese in terms of defense. You can't even. They can't guard the worst player on any team. So I'm so glad they're gone. I'm with you, Chase. I think you
Yeah,
hit the nail
and
right.
I'm not like calling for Jeff Petrie to be playing like top line minutes. Honestly, like stash him in the third pair or like scratch him if we need. You know, obviously with the young guys we got now, but just the disrespect he got last year and Oli Mata got last year, I just thought was insane.
Oli Mata got a little bit too much slander. I will say that.
Yeah.
Jeff
Thank
Petrie.
you.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what that dude just.
And Andrew Kopp. I will always say here and defend Andrew Kopp.
Oh,
that
Jesus.
Oh my God, Flandel, do you not understand that he put up a career high in points when that's not even his job? He is a defensive center, and he still finished with a plus season. That is a good season for your third line center.
It's the Steve Yzerman can do no wrong people. That's what that's the Andrew Kopp like justification. It's the Steve
Slightly
Yzerman can do no
overpaid.
wrome people.
He's slightly overpaid.
Hey.
Okay, yeah,
that is for you. He's slightly
Okay,
overpaid,
okay.
but he is value. He has value, and his contract has value to this team.
We can shake hands on that.
Yeah, speaking of
Kubiak.
speaking of Stevie Y, man, I know it's early, but Justin, I gotta ask you this: is this a make or break year for Steve Yzerman?
No, it's not at all. He's got no pressure, to be honest. Even from the guys upstairs, I even think that
I knew that was gonna get him going. I knew it.
That's all right. I'll let you go.
Yeah,
I'll let you go.
finish,
I'll let you
finish,
go.
Justin.
brother.
even the fan base, I think, will even give him a little more leeway. But I think you're seeing where, in the case of the Tigers, you can make some noise if you get there. And it puts him in a position where he said he's going to add at the deadline. And if he adds at the deadline, this team could do something special. And so I don't think that there is a situation where it's a failure if we miss the playoffs, because if we miss the playoffs, there's going to be some stuff that happens that is explainable to why we don't. You could see Larkin go down. You could see a team in the East be really good who you didn't expect, which is a very big possibility. There's probably 11 teams that could make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. It is a tough conference, so we can't just say that there's this easy walk to the playoffs. So no, there's no pressure on Yzerman. The end goal is to win a Stanley Cup. And to win a Stanley Cup, it's not going to happen overnight. And he's making the linear growth that you ask for out of a GM that you don't even get all the time. And as Neil says, if there's linear growth, what are you complaining about? And that's where I'm going to sit. And I'm going to stand on my business, because this team is good enough to make the playoffs. But if something happens where Larkin goes down for 20 games and we miss the playoffs by one game, I mean, you could point to that, but at some point you're going to have to fix that, where if Larkin gets hurt, you need to be able to input someone to overcome that injury. Like, that can't forever be the downfall of the Red Wings in our championship window.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I didn't mean make or break from a standpoint that he would get fired. I mean, clearly he's not going to get fired anytime soon, but I meant in terms of like his public perception if he doesn't make the playoffs this year.
The public perception will swing a little bit. There will be people who are mad. I mean, I see Tailgate Wins in the chat. Shout out Tailgate.
Yep, shout out Nick.
There's no excuse to not make the
Smart
playoffs.
man,
Which
Nick.
I understand that. Hey, I'm not here to be that guy to not call for the playoffs, not want us to win. But at the extent of, if we make improvements, if you can tell that the young guys took another step, if we have cap space to make this team better next season, when we actually could make a deep playoff run with two more big additions to this roster, another move at the goaltending position. I can't be thinking of the minutia of one season when it takes years to build a true Stanley Cup dynasty contender, which Steve Yzerman is trying to do. And I'm not willing to skip steps to get there. And if missing the playoffs has to be a step to get the improvement out of the guys you need to get improvement out of, then that's how it has to be.
Hey, you know what? John effing Lord in the chat says, I love the hockey talk. This has been awesome, Justin. It's been a great conversation. What about you, Flannel Sam?
Oh no, it's been great. honestly,
It has been.
I think I'm going to let it lie there, and we'll see how it plays out. I think they're going to make the playoffs. If they don't,
I think they're
we'll have
gonna
a
make the
different.
playoffs.
Yeah.
too.
Is that the consensus all the way
Yeah.
around before we
Oh,
get
yeah.
into Tigers
Yeah.
predictions
Yeah.
next
I-
segment?
With us
think-
anyway. Sean
Yeah.
Beligian went on record and said he didn't believe that they would make the playoffs this year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Serious?
Oh,
Yeah,
he
on
ended up
big-
going for a full no.
Man.
Yeah, last week on Big D he did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I
Man.
respect Sean. I
And
respect
he's a
his
hockey
opinion,
guy.
Yeah.
But I think
think-
he's overrated in the East a little bit. Especially honestly his Montreal Canadiens. I'll say it straight up. They did beat the Leafs 1-0 last night, which is a great win for them, great open to their season. But I don't know. I don't fear the Canadiens like he says that I should. They don't really have that guy that I necessarily see as like, oh shit, like he's gonna put up a huge game against us and bury us. I just don't see it.
You know, Justin, if there's anything that we can totally kumbaya on, it's that the Montreal Canadiens, I don't understand why Sean Beligian is just like, shiver me timbers, the Canadiens. But, hey, we're going to do a show tomorrow, and we're going to get into it. But thank you so much for joining us, man. It was good to see
One
you
more
yesterday.
thing before
go
I
ahead.
go.
Yeah.
For my bettors out there, I figured I'd bring a little Red Wings parlay for you because you know how it be. I was actually going to ask JB to cook me up with the best bets graphic, but I didn't
listening.
remember
It's
to do
all
this
good.
At 11 p.m. last night, so I didn't want to hit him up with that. But here we are, Red Wings money line. They're winning against the Pens
Shout out
tonight.
to
The Pens
Caesars.
are not. Yep. Shout out to your sportsbook. They're winning tonight. Red Wings money line. Give me Larkin to get a point and give me Raymond to get a point. I don't remember exactly what that paid. I don't have it off the top of my head. But that 3-leg parlay, I'm assuming it's around plus 400. I love it. I'll be riding it. Ride with me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey,
I got you, my guy.
over under Mo Sider washes somebody's face with his gloves, 0.5.
I'd say over.
Let's go. Let's go.
They're going to feel the energy at LCA tonight, especially with the Tigers down there. It's going to be absolutely epic in Detroit. If you're down there, make sure you send us some videos. We would love to see what the atmosphere is down there. I'll be checking the socials. You can DM it to me. You can DM it to Woodward Sports. I'll be checking the socials around. Make sure that we're getting that content. So thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate you letting me tap in, talk about the Red Wings. Disagree with Flannel. I know he's gonna. If it was a Red Wings segment, next segment, he'd be going in about the fact that he thinks I'm wrong and you know, not kumbaya like we just did. So
No,
He said he was going to play nice all day.
No, yeah, no, and it's all good. And I respect your hockey knowledge. You come at it from a different angle as somebody who plays the game, and I obviously do not. I can't even ice skate, so there's value to multiple perspectives. So shout out, Justin. Good to see you yesterday, and good to have you on today.
Thanks, Justin.
Great segment,
have
brother.
a great day, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a good day, brother.
And hey, damn, dude, I'm surrounded by athletes here, and there's me. Me and Chase were having that conversation yesterday. You got pro athletes, you got college athletes, you got dudes who were high school stars, and then you've got a mediocre JV football player.